Test, test, test. Test, test, test. No need to share sound. Okay. All right. Welcome to this workshop. Thanks, Nurin Christina. Welcome, welcome. So we'll wait for the rest to arrive. Let me see. So react with an emoji of what you're feeling right now. All right, Noreen, thanks for giving a thumbs up. All right, welcome Tan, YY. Welcome Jeshua, welcome Hans, Isaac. All right, more people are coming in, great. In the meantime, react on how you are feeling. So there's thumbs up and claps. And then there's shocked and laughing. All right, so we'll wait for the rest to arrive. Thank you for coming early. The auto admit. All right, more and more people are coming into this workshop. All right, good. Are you guys feeling excited? If you do, if you feel excited for this workshop, give a thumbs up, give a clap, react to how you're feeling today, right? Maybe have some heart shapes, right? Amazing. Right, admit. Hello, hello. Okay, I think you raise your hands. If you have any questions, let me know as well, right? You can. So put in the chat your name and where you're from. So, for example, my name is Haris and I'm from Singapore. So put in the chat where you're from, what's your name, and where you're from, right? Maybe you're from Malaysia, maybe you're from Singapore, maybe you're from, you know, and which part of Malaysia you're in as well. Let me, right? So put in the chat where you're from. Just introduce yourself really quickly. In the captions, I'll just remove this. Okay. Hi, Farisa from Selangor, Malaysia. Hi, Jeshro from Kajang, Malaysia. Hi, Nurin from Semenith. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Okay. Hi, Navina from Puchong. Okay, maybe we'll wait for 5 minutes more for the rest to arrive. How are you guys feeling? Do some reactions, right? Can we admit everyone in? Okay, let's go. Somebody's feeling sad, Shenzhen. Are you feeling sad? Why are you feeling sad? All right. So for those who just arrived, do put down your name and where you're from, right? Hi, Badrina from Pahang. Okay. Right. Just gonna... Okay, we'll wait for the rest to arrive. There's 4 minutes more, and then we'll get started on this workshop called Your Express Path to a Tech Career. All right, put inside the chat your name, where you're from. Just get to know one another. I think most of you are from Malaysia, right? Just put in, okay. First to last, raise your hands. Okay, you can do some reactions, emoji reactions. If you're feeling sad, let me know as well. All right. It's normal to feel sad, you know. Are you feeling shocked or happy, excited, right? Just spam the emojis down below. Okay. And then put inside the chat where you're from, right? Your name. So I'm Haris, I'm from Singapore. And yeah, just get to know one another. Maybe you find someone near your states, right? Maybe someone also lives at Pahang or Puchong. And if any questions, just let me know in the chat as well. Hi, Shanavath from Seranda, Selangor. Right. Hello, hello. Hello, everyone. Right. So put in your name, where you're from. Haris. I'm Haris. Haris from Singapore. Just gonna repeat. Okay. Brandon from Singapore. Hi, fellow Singaporean. Hi, Nazrul from Tangkak Johor. Wanted to change a job? Yes. Hi, Jensen from Kedah. Okay. All right. More people are coming in. Right. Hi, Natalie from Subang, Selangor. Wow, a lot of people is from the Selangor states. So maybe you guys can meet each other. So we'll have 2 minutes more. Not a big fan of Google Meets because I can't really share the sound that I usually play when we wait for certain people. View and meet. All right. Did I? Why is it like this? Unpin. Sorry if I pin. I don't know why I pinned. All right. Also put in the emojis of how you're feeling. Are you feeling great? Are you feeling amazing? All right. So there is the raise hand button. So if you have any question, if I can give you to the floor and just let me know as well. Okay. I'm gonna start this workshop in 1 minute. Okay. In the meantime, for those who have joined, just put inside the chat your name and where you're from. So Red has raised a hand. So if you have any questions, you can put inside the Zoom chat actually. Zoom chat. I'm so used to teaching in Zoom. So if you have any questions, just put inside the Google Meets. And then I'll open the floor for everyone to ask a question. All right. Is that okay? Is that okay? Right. So thank you for coming on at this late of a time. A-okay. All right. I love the energy from these people, even though I don't hear anyone. But I love the energy of like just putting the emoji. All right. Let's put in, right? Put in the emojis. Let's go. Yes, let's go, man. Let's go. I love that energy, Christina and Nasru. Right. Okay, 12 seconds. Are you guys ready? Admit, yes. I'm going to have to multitask because I'm admitting more and more people coming in as well. All right. Okay. Yes, it will be a good session today. All right. So welcome everyone, and thanks for joining at this late of an hour. My name is Haris, and I will be your host for this workshop session. Okay. So thanks for coming. I always want to thank everyone for coming. And a little bit about myself, right? So my name is Haris. I'm from Singapore, and I'm the general partner at Sigma School. So what I do, I do almost no, I don't do almost everything, but I mainly teach, right? And I have taught. So I'm a former Google developer expert, and I've taught in universities such as Singapore Management University and NTU, right? So these are some of the top universities in Singapore, and some say around the world. And then my job is mainly to help students and maybe you guys to transition to software developers. All right. So if you have any questions, right, on like, oh, Haris, why are you so handsome? Put it down in the chat, right? So, but maybe, I mean, the kind of questions I appreciate. But other than that, any questions about this workshop, all right? Okay, Christina, how do we address you as Sir Haris? Don't need to put the Sir lah. Just put me Haris, okay? Just call me Haris, and yeah, I will answer the questions at the best of my abilities. All right. So good question right there. Boss man Haris. Chen Zhen, wow. I love the spirits. Okay. He's definitely not my friend. All right. So I'm just gonna, maybe in the chat below, right? I'm gonna ask a few questions here, right? So before I'll just move on to this. Who here is currently a student, right? If you are a student, just react with a thumbs up. Anyone who is currently a student, give a thumbs up. All right, Christina is a student. Alia is a student. Who else? Who else is a student? All right, JF. Is it JF? Right. Okay, there's a lot of people thumbsing up, thumbsing up. Right. Okay, then maybe the next question is, who here is currently working? So currently you're working in a part-time job, a full-time job. Then maybe you give like laughter. Okay, Shanuvat, all right, Jay Shire, Chachun, Natalie, all right. So yes, why laugh? Because sometimes the job is so stressful that you have to laugh to yourself, right? It's like, why am I in this job? That kind of thing. All right. Okay, cool. So I see some of you also are, working and also students as well. And lastly, for those who are just chilling, you know, uh, maybe you can react with this emoji, the celebration. So people were chilling. Just let me know. All right, Badrina, Jonathan, Ida, like, oh, right, nice. All right, Vanessa. So, all right, we have a group of amazing people here who are studying, who's working, and also who's chilling. Okay, and Farisa as well, and Tan YY. Okay, so with this, I would say that this webinar is for those who wants to know what a career in tech looks like, right? So this is where like I will show you how the tech scene is. At the same time, for those who wants a fresh start in a new career. So for those who are working and you want something that is, better than what you're working right now, this is the webinar for you. Lastly, for those who want to accelerate their current, tech career without a degree. So you might have heard of friends going be software developers, and then you ask them, hey, how do you do it? Right? And then you ask, you got a degree or not? And they say no. It says, I became a software developer without a degree. So is if you are one of these three, or if you're all of these three, then this webinar, okay, it's supposed to be a workshop, is for you. All right. So what will you learn out of this? So basically, I'm going to share with you three things. Number one is how our past student went from an engineer, a mechanical engineer, to 3 times his income, right? And then number two, what people don't tell you in the tech industry, right? And lastly, why people choose boot camps over degrees, right? So who's excited to listen to these three different points that I'm going to share with you, right? If you're excited, maybe give a emoji of like, this celebratory, right? Nazro, everyone is excited for this. Amazing, amazing. Oh my God, yes, spamming, all right. Okay, great, great. All right, hold up. Let me let me go on. All right, so let me go through on the story of the past student that I had, Adam. Right, how he got a developer job without a degree. So Adam here, he was a mechanical engineer before joining us. Right, so he's working in a company specializing in drones. Right, so those flying drones over a year, but due to bad working conditions, right? So what he experienced, and maybe some of you might relate, is this is quite better. Is that first he was the only engineer. Second is that his pay was constantly getting delayed, right? And then third is that he is working 7 days a week, on average 12 hours per day, right? That's almost every single day. Who here feels like you're working almost every single day, right? You don't it's tiring, right? And lastly, he was not paid for 4 months. Okay, and that was it's a bad situation for him. And then the salary remained at 1,500 ringgit after a year, even though he was promised of an increment, right? So these stories where people are promised of like, hey, I'm gonna increase your salary, right? And then that day never comes. So he is one of them. So his situation wasn't getting better because suddenly another thing happened, which is that his father had a heart attack and he had to leave his job to take care of him, right? And that is like kind of sad because not only he wasn't earning money from his job, he now has to take care of his father, right? So he was stuck because he had no opportunities to improve his skills as an engineer in his previous job because he was doing the same thing. He was working almost every day, and then he wasn't earning like good money, right, as an engineer. And then after that, the industry itself is already very competitive, and the drones kind of like industry is already very small, right, very niche. And he was quite demotivated because these kind of things you can never expect, right? It just happens. And the thing is that how did he, go through this moment in his life? So he actually went back to his interest in coding, and he felt happy, right? Because like coding helped him see, some sort of a direction, because it's, in a sense, understand, and he, searched through learning materials and projects, and that's where he found Sigma School, right? So it was a blessing in disguise. He had to learn coding and decided to join, right? A coding bootcamp, essentially. Like basically, he was looking for a course to help him coding, and then basically he found, coding bootcamps. But the thing is that he doesn't know what he wants in a he does basically he knows what he don't want in a career, right, from his experience, right? So he had nothing to lose, and he said, I had no stable job, I was not paid for 4 months, and I knew this is not what I want for myself. So he wants to make a change, and sometimes that change is so painful to the point that he had to go all in, right? So it's okay to feel incompetent now, but just commit to the path that, which is, coding itself. So Adam wanted to try and transition into tech, which I think most of you are, and he began the journey of going through a coding bootcamp. So he faced, of course, learning to code. It's pretty hard because it is a hard technical skills, especially when he has no background in tech. But he, trusted himself and began his journey to reskill himself, in 4 months. He had this goal, right? To really turn things around, because not only that he wasn't being paid for 4 months, he also had to take care of his father, which means he had no income then. So he really had to turn things around. Okay. So yeah, the learning experience in the boot camp was supportive, and that's why he told his story. So despite Adam not having a background in tech, he managed to apply his learnings from the boot camp pretty fast. So having a community and mentor pushed me into the right foundation as a developer. And the thing is, how did he transition into a tech job, right? So in the boot camp, he almost completed 80% of it. And you know what's the interesting part of this story is that he was offered an interview while playing a badminton game. So imagine that he was, really learning on coding, and then his friend, invited him to just chill, catch up, go to a game of badminton. And then after that, I think Adam actually told his story about him learning to code. And then his friend suddenly say, hey, we're actually looking for someone. And he explained that he had just completed this dinosaur game clone project. And his friend was impressed, and he referred him to a hiring manager, or basically the hiring manager of his company, for an interview. And this is the game that he created for the this is the game that he created to show to his friend. And that game itself, right, was it enough to get him a job? This dinosaur game that he followed through. So a few days later, after the interview, when he showed the dinosaur game, he was offered a job as a software developer with no degree, right? So the thing is, the interesting part is that uh, told me that when he joined the company, right, he said that colleagues that talked to him, he said that, hey, you're the dinosaur game guy, right? Because they were all impressed with that dinosaur game. And I think that led to him being hired as a software developer in the company. But I mean, other than that, obviously in the interview skills and technical skills and all of that, he proven to himself that going through a coding bootcamp without a degree managed to land him a software developer role. So I would say in summary, right, Adam has built the skills through a coding bootcamp, showed his dinosaur game to his friends, and got a software developer job without a degree. Okay. So the thing is that you might be thinking, right? Adam, he had mechanical engineer degree, right? And background. So he might have some experience in terms of, like mechanical coding, kind of related, right? But what if I don't have any degree? So the thing is, I will share another story. Don't know if you know him. So this guy named Haris, right? 2017. Yeah. So I don't know if you know the joke lah. That's me, right? So for me, I had a applied drama and psychology diploma. Nothing related to tech at all, right? If you want to know what is applied drama and psychology, basically you create drama workshops to explore topics like bullying, which is the psychology part, to raise awareness or help, raise awareness about that, right? So yeah, the kind of job that didn't really exist, right? It's okay. The school does not know either. Yes, Jensen, I know, I know. And then after that, after the diploma in a non-tech related background, I went through a part-time university in psychology. Okay, and then after that, I quit university because I really wanted to get a job that also pay pretty well. So I joined the coding bootcamp, and as I don't think that you hear people saying going to the coding bootcamp was easy, right? I think no one said it. So it is very normal for coding bootcamp to be intense, and it was really intense, right? And I was the slower one, right? Someone like me with the title of former Google developer expert, suddenly I was the slower one in the class, right? So I felt like shit, right? It's not, you don't feel happy when you're the slowest one in the class, right? But I did not give up, right? Because I really wanted to be a software developer. So I managed to graduate. So I really, really tried my best. And one thing that I want to share is that at the start, I was a slower one, but at the end, I was the first one who finished the exam and I passed the exam. So yeah, that is an achievement that I have with me. And not only did I graduate, I was able to get a job. So I got my first software developer job with no degree. And this was the offer of employment as a software engineer, $3,100 per month, right? This was back in, I would say, 2017. So 2017, oh, sorry, 2018, the date is literally there. So earning $3,100 per month back then in 2018, right, without a degree, this kind of money, it's as close to having a degree. I mean, right now, of course, due to more money in the system in the economy, 3.1 is small. But a person with a diploma in what psychology, I'm able to earn 3.1K per month, right? So that is the story that I have. Okay. Right. So you might be thinking, right, okay, you shared story. Now I'm feeling motivated here, right? How do I then learn, to become a software developer, right? Because, Adam, me, we don't have, the tech background to become software developers, but we managed to, and we went through a coding bootcamp. So lucky for you, I actually have a roadmap that I have taught in universities or mainly people who want to transition to become software developers, right? So this is the roadmap that I have gone through many years of teaching, literally teach so many students in how to become software developers. And I have made my students to become software developers without degrees, right? So I went through myself, I taught, and I've seen it. So this is for you, right? Okay. So this is the roadmap of becoming a software developer. So number one, this is something that I always teach and I always emphasize really, really hard is to master the basics, right? As a kid, right, your first job is to just walk, right? And how you walk is being good at crawling. How you walk after crawling, you started to, walk, and then eventually you fall, but you keep on trying again. You fall, you keep on trying, but you got better in walking. And eventually you're able to walk, right? So if you're not able to walk, how are you going to run? So the thing is that it's the same with coding. It is your basics is very, very important, right? Because if you're not able to understand the basics, I can guarantee you that it is harder for you to understand difficult concepts in the future, right? Because coding it's already very hard, and then being a software developer it gets harder, right? It doesn't get easier, sadly lah. It gets harder. But the thing is that once you're able to master the basics, you're able to master the advanced and even more advanced concepts, right? And the concepts of the basics is pretty, I would say, straightforward most of the time, right? These are the different concepts that you learn, right? Variables, functions, for loop, and all that, right? I'm not going to go through on this because at the end of this course, you're going to get a free course that actually teaches you some of these basics that I believe will help you learn as a developer, right? Now, after the basics, once you learn all of the different basic concepts, right, the next thing is to build simple web projects, right? The thing is that when we learn the basics, the next thing that people want to see is what projects you build, right? Right now, I'm trying to find software developers, right? And the thing is that if you don't show projects, there's no way for me who's looking for a software developer to understand how well you are in terms of coding, right? So if you don't have a project to showcase in your resume, then it's very hard for someone like me or a tech recruiter or even an employer to see how well you code out your project. It's as simple as that. It's like saying, right, I go to a bakery, right? And then the person say, okay, I can bake a cake. Would you believe that person to say, I can believe, like, I can bake a cake? No, right? You say, okay, can you show me a cake that you have baked? Then would you then, if the person were to be able to show you a cake that they bake, would you then hire the person? Exactly, right? You will probably hire the person because the person know how to bake a cake. Same thing here. You have to know how to build a simple web project. And why I say start with web projects or website building, right? Is because number one, I would say that coding is already very hard. So in order for you to motivate yourself, you need something that is more visual, right? And that's where web development is amongst the easiest amongst all of the other development tech out there. So that not only it's very visual, you literally can see what you code out. Second is that is the easier thing amongst every development I've experienced myself, right? Web development. So here are certain web development concepts that I'm going to show you. But don't worry, this is the green ticks are all covered inside the free course at the end of this workshop. So these are all of the different projects that I recommend, but the green ticked one are the ones that are inside the 6 in 6 projects. And I believe that it's not, I believe, I have comments, I have feedback inside the 6 in 6 project that this is easy to follow, right? So people with no tech experience went through the 6 in 6 and they say it's easy to follow, right? So stay tuned to the end of this course to know how to get that 6 in 6 course. I call it 6 in 6, but it's 6 days, 6 projects in 6 days. Okay, number 3. So now you're able to understand the basics. Now you know how to build a website. The next thing is that the website is not enough. You need to create it with this thing called frameworks. So frameworks are basically blueprints, right? The purpose of creating an application right now is to create things faster. If you know that currently there is AI right out there, it can create things faster. There is this thing called ChatGPT, an AI chatbot. When you ask a question, it can answer back like a human being very accurately. Not 100% accurately, but very accurately. So the same thing goes as building websites. Now you know how to build a simple website. You will have to learn how to build a website that's able to make your coding so much faster, right? So there's frameworks that's out there called, React. All right, Tenten, thank you for sharing. Frameworks also helping collaborating. Teams knows the same abstraction. So the thing is, right, developers don't work alone, right? Developers work with other people. So with frameworks, it helps everyone to go into the project and also able to focus on building a very big application, right? So web applications such as Facebook, right, that you use. Maybe you search TikTok as well, right? On the website, I do, right? Or YouTube. That is a very big web application, and they use frameworks. And the most popular frameworks that a lot of company use is this thing called React. And then another like framework to style it. So frameworks to build big application, React. Frameworks to style the application, meaning you put buttons, you make the button look nice, you put the image, and then you have some, lovely animation and curves and spacing, right? This is a framework. We call it styling framework. We call it Bootstrap, right? So the framework itself is like what you see in the image over here, right? The beams. And then you have, workers to put cement, workers to put the bricks. These are like developers. And then the person who make the building very nice. These are, architects and, painters. This is what we call styling frameworks, right? So this is what you're going to learn or what you have to learn in order for you to understand the framework, which is what I recommended, the React and Bootstrap framework. All right. So don't worry. If you want to know more about this, you can like take a screenshot if you know how to use a screenshot in the web. But we will these are the things that you can learn while you are learning the frameworks, right? React, hooks, use state, Bootstrap, React Router, create, read, update, delete data, and then a project that I would recommend is the Instagram clone. All right, the next one. Once you're able to build a web application, you have to connect it to the database, right? Now you see, oh my God, being web developer suddenly so hard. Yes, that's why they pay the big bucks, right? So after you know how to create a web application, the next thing is you need to play around with data. And where does data lives? It lives in a database, right? So building projects on your own is good. Building projects for others is better, but database is also an important way to store data, right? So database is something that you have to learn as a developer because this whole world is literally running with data, right? So this is the list of topics on what to learn and projects to do, right? Node.js, API, async await, SQL, Express.js, and Twitter clone, right? These are all jargons that you just need to kind of know. But at the same time, these are things that I would say is essential as a person who want to transition to be a web developer, right? So I think the only thing that you might understand is Twitter clone, right? And that is something that I will also recommend for you to build because it's very visual and it's something that hopefully most of you use. All right, and lastly, okay, I think this is the second last. So once you are able to master the basics, build simple websites, build with frameworks, use database. The next thing is how do you then have the current way to actually build your whole, we call this a full stack. So we have a lot of stacks, right? We have like we have the website application where the database, that's a stack. So let's add in one more thing, which is called web services. Maybe you heard of this thing called AWS, right? Basically, we try to simplify a lot of things because code is already very complicated. So why not we just summarize some of the code into a few lines of code, right? Because a lot of times, a lot of things are being reused, right? So this is where web services comes in. So nowadays, a lot of web applications are using web services to make your web applications run faster, right? So all of this roadmap itself is something that you will learn along the way when you want to become a software developer or even get a tech role. Because any tech role has to learn how data works, what is the web service itself, and also a very base understanding, a very good base understanding of how a website works. Because most of the time, you need to transfer data to a simple website, and you need to play around with the data that you need to, later on use it for your application, for your work and whatnot. So here's a list of the different web services that I recommend you to learn, Firebase, Firebase database, Firebase authentication, and whatnot. Okay. So lastly, don't worry about this, but just understand that you need to learn the web services, right? AWS or Firebase. Lastly, number 6, once you have all of this things inside your skill set, right? So your basics, your simple websites, frameworks, database, web service. And lastly, step 6, right, is then I'm very confident and I've seen it before that with this skill set, you're able to apply for jobs because these are the skills that people are looking for. I'm looking for because I'm looking for a software developer, right? So don't worry if you have not get all of the different topics or concepts or subjects of these tech subjects that you need to learn. These are all inside the 6 days in 6 projects in 6 days course that I'm going to share with you later on, right? So that is where you have to apply for jobs because eventually you want to transition to be a software developer or in a tech role itself, right? So hope in you should have a huge amount of projects that you have built, and this will be the confidence to apply for your dream job, right? A TikTok star, right? Or I mean, software developer. But here are the lists of what you need to do to actually get a high chance to get a software developer role, right? If you don't have a LinkedIn profile, oh my God, you should, right? Literally, I have a student, I told my student, create a LinkedIn profile, right? And then after that, right, he told me, hey, Haris, I followed your advice and literally a lot, like not a lot, but it's like there are more people who are reaching out to me to hire me. So a LinkedIn profile literally will open up the doors of having people to want to hire you, right? Second is, of course, creating resume. Third is building a portfolio website, a simple one, right? Just to practice your skills. Fifth, there's this thing called data structure and algorithm. Data structure is basically how data is being stored, so different structure, right? And then algorithm is basically what is a set of instructions to solve a problem, right? That's about it. And then you need to, of course, practice interview skills, apply through LinkedIn and job portals, and lastly, networking, right? I had a job offer, or basically I know I got a job offer. I got a job offer from meeting someone in a meetup. Like what Adam went through, right? He just maybe the badminton is not the meetup that I'm asking lah. Suddenly more and more people play badminton and ask around, hey, you looking for software developer? No, 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 right? So what when I say meetups, basically is tech meetups, tech events, right? Where software developer hang out, and then that's where you can, hopefully meet people in the industry and have a bigger chance of getting a software developer role. And then, now you have the whole roadmap that laid out to you, that I literally laid out to you, that I've helped students that went through the roadmap itself, and and my students actually, went to get software developer roles, right? And then you might be thinking, right, since you have the whole roadmap, then should I choose a degree or should I choose a bootcamp, right? So here are just some simple statistics on like if you were to go to a degree or you were to go to a coding bootcamp, right? First is that if you were to go to a coding bootcamp, most of the time is on average 4 months, right? There are some coding bootcamps that are 3 months, some bootcamps are 6 months, but on average is 4 months, right? Second is that if you were to go to a degree, it takes 4 years, right? So having to go through a coding bootcamp gives you like a 3 years head start, right? It's 3 years in terms of like having the required knowledge for you to get hired as a software developer versus going through a degree. All right. Second is of course, the cost, right? As a coding bootcamp, it ranges right from maybe as cheap as 8K to maybe as 20K, right? And then if you were to go through a traditional degree, on average is 110,000, right? It can be as low as maybe 90,000 to as high as 300,000, right? So that is basically the difference in terms of cost, right? Then then you might be thinking, so, okay, now I know the difference between these two coding boot camps and at the same time like degree, right? So what if software development is a bit challenging for you? Of course it will be challenging, right? It's if it's too easy, everybody will be doing it, right? But of course it is going to be challenging. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but the thing is that right now there is AI to learn and for you to better understand coding, and this is a very good tip for you to actually better understand what all of these technical jargons that Hari say. What is this? Async await lah. What is this like JSON lah? That kind of thing. All of this so confusing, right? So the best part about it is that right now there is an AI thing that's called ChatGPT, right? It's a chatbot that literally replies you like a human being, not like those when you go to those like chatbot where it's like you click on a button, it's like, aha, I understand. No, no, these are chatbot that's so powerful that you think there is a human behind it. So I'm going to share with you a simple way to actually just understand on how to use ChatGPT to understand coding. So literally, what I typed there is how to explain variables. Variables is just another coding concept. But instead on how to explain variables, you just explain variables to a football player, right? I think some of you might be a football fan. And if you were to just put it inside ChatGPT, right, it will actually explain the concept of variables to like a football player, right? So essentially, for me, if I were to explain it, variables are a way for you to keep track of a score, of a number, as simple as that, right? So in a football match, you have the score of a team, and variables is basically a way to store the number that if a team scores, right? And that's variables. And you don't have to have me around. You literally have a 24/7 teacher that you can ask questions about, right? So essentially, you just type in how to understand, and then you put in a coding subject, variables, JSON, functions, whatever. Like for example, inside job. Maybe you can literally put to like how to explain, for example, a function to a K-pop star, and then it will actually will literally will explain to you how it looks like. Like a 5-year-old kid is my favorite prompt. Yes, Chun, right? Like a 5-year-old kid as well, right? So there are many prompts out there that can help you understand coding, and this is where it gets. That's why I would say right now is the best time to learn, because before that, trust me, you people are so lucky today because you have ChatGPT to explain coding subjects so easily, right? Previously, I had to understand what the person is talking about in a YouTube tutorial. I had to literally Google what the whole jargon or what confusing or coding subject is. But right now, you have AI to actually help you to understand. So literally, there is little excuse to use GPT or AI. This is free, mind you, right? To actually think about learning to code, right? Harris, you need to learn the joy of reading a think language. No, no, no. I don't like to read a specific think language specification book. All right. But yeah, either way, for me, I want to learn. I want to enjoy learning. I think most of us want to enjoy learning. At the same time, we want to also understand what we are learning, right? So one of our students, he says that the learning community is diverse, and definitely in a coding bootcamp, it helps as well, right? So for him, he has graduated from a coding bootcamp at the age of 18 and now a software engineer based in San Francisco, right? So these are actual people who actually learn through a coding bootcamp, and they have, you know, gotten a job, and some of them are able to get a job overseas, right? So how many of you want to get a job overseas? And I think most of you, or most of some of you want to get a remote job. So if you want that kind of like dream job, give a thumbs up, man. Who here wants to get a job overseas, or best you want to get a remote job? And right now, is the best way is to just learn tech. And for me, I haven't also explained now. Like for me, how I had two opportunities. One was I had a client, a US client, to help in his coding project. He paid me 3.6K USD for maybe 1 to 2 weeks of work, right? And then I had another job that I had to do, which is a freelance job. Like for 1 week of work or almost 2 weeks of work, I earned 10,000. Oh no, sorry, 8,000 Singapore dollars. Right. So these are things that I didn't have to go to the office or travel overseas. This was done remotely, and that is where tech comes in. Right. You can actually work remotely. So it's easier now to code with automation and AI tools. And then the thing is that we there's a survey that was done to 2,000 developers with the ChatGPT. And there's this thing called GitHub Copilot, basically a coding tool that helps you write faster. So you write one line of code, it will automatically help you generate the other lines of code for you. And 75% of these developers say that they're able to feel more fulfilled in their job, because every job is you definitely feel stress in a job. But what if something can help you, make you feel better about yourself in a job, right? And with AI, actually helps developers feel less frustrated, because if you were to work as a developer, if you were to learn development, you know that it's actually quite frustrating. But with AI, it's so much easier, right? You are able to explain concepts. And one more thing that I didn't went through is that you can use AI to solve errors. As developers, our job is to solve errors, and now AI is able to help us find what the error is, right? Who basically you have a very fast 24/7 free assistant to help you with your job. Okay, maybe not free, but maybe it is a way for you to feel better working in a developer role as well, right? So, for example, over here, there is a test between writing a code in JavaScript. So, web server is basically code for us to have to host website. So we need to put the website into like a server in JavaScript itself, right? So basically, what you have is that 45 developers use the AI, and it is in 1 hour and 11 minutes they're able to accomplish 78% of the tasks, which is pretty good. Because sometimes when you code, you have errors you need to resolve. So 78% accurate, right? While 50 did not use GitHub, and literally they had to code almost 3 hours. So with AI, you're able to code 1 hour, but without AI, you had to code the whole thing in 3 hours. And the thing is that you might be thinking, right? There's the question. Okay, and at the same time, you are able to, create games with AI over here. So basically, I'm not going to go through the whole video itself, but you can actually go through, you can type in a sentence, and then after that, it will actually generate the code for you. So this is a game just by typing whatever changes you want to the code, and it already does the coding for you. So now, what is the role of a software developer? It's like, hey, like now an AI can code for me. Like, what's the point then, right? So you might have declared, will AI take over software developers? That's something a lot of my students always ask, and maybe some of you ask, like, okay, since AI can, code, then what's the point being the developer, right? So the thing is that if you were to ask realistically, logically, right, if the AI can create the code, who can read the code? If you, for example, let's fire all the software developers in the company because AI can create the code, but then they create the code for you. How do you know the code is good? How do you know the code will have little errors, right? So then it doesn't make sense, right? If you were to just replace all the software developers with AI, that is where you still need software developers. And the thing is that I just want to share before I move on in the next slide is that you might be thinking, oh, if I were to replace, or if I were to make your job very close to not having a job, meaning automation, right? Then what happens, right? So the thing is that we don't really replace people. So, for example, one thing you might have seen is that, or you have experienced is that almost a few years, your laptop, your phone continually becomes faster, right? But the thing is that, for example, for me, I have a M1 MacBook, right? Meaning that the innovation behind it is that this laptop is able to perform as fast as a very good laptop with less power, right? So meaning that I don't have to use a lot of like electricity to run this very fast laptop. But the thing is that would I, as a person, will only use the maybe it actually runs maybe 2 times the speed. But the thing is that we always want something faster. We always want something that is easier for us, right? So no matter what, we will find ways to just save more, I would say, electricity or whatnot. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that every innovation itself, right? Sorry if that whole thing was confusing, but basically, what I'm trying to say, right? Every new thing that comes up, there will always be people that's in need, and most of the time, this new thing that comes up is always tech, and tech always requires software developers, right? That's what I'm trying to say, lah. Right? So in Time Magazine 2023, right, this article basically you can get an AI job that pays out to 335K and you don't need a computer engineering background. So now with AI, there's this thing called chat prompt engineers, right? These are people who create, we call these prompts, right? Let me go back. Yeah, these are called prompts. Prompts are basically sentences that you just put into ChatGPT lah. So now there are software developers who are good at creating prompts, sentences, and they can earn a lot. Right. So that is the beauty of tech, is because tech will always change, but like for example, this year AI was is very popular. Last year, if you remember, crypto was very popular. But the thing is that software developers, somehow you can find software developers who can do this job, AI job, or you last year you can find developers who are good at blockchain. Essentially, right, these are just normal software developers who know the basics of what I literally went through, the roadmap, right? They know the basics. They know how to create website. They know how data works. They know how to connect data to the database to the website itself, right? They know how web services work. But the thing is that with this base knowledge of being a developer or web developer, then when blockchain came about, they already have a base of how to make a web application. And now they just need to learn blockchain. And that's it. Now you're a developer who knows blockchain, right? Blockchain itself is, of course, another technology. But if you know how to learn, then that's where you are able to learn blockchain. And people with, zero experience in blockchain, but they're able to create projects to prove that they are able to understand blockchain, right? Got hired. Same thing with these AI engineers. These engineers or software developers, right, who do this AI chat GPT prompt or whatever, right? These sentences, they are just software developers, but they're not like they like Chat GPT is like less than 1 year. But how are they able to get jobs in being a Chat GPT prompt? Is because they have the base of knowing how to create websites. They are just software developers. They know how to learn fast, and then after that, they will just learn this chat GPT, and then they just put two things together. I know how to create a website, or I know how to use chat GPT, and bam, now they're in demand, right? So I don't know if I have a stats on it, but now there's so many AI tools out there, right? If you are, I mean, the AI tools, for example, I'm able to cut short videos without hiring a video editor, right? In a long form video, right? So these are AI tools that has been created, right? So with this software development still, and I believe in but I don't want to believe in the future lah. But basically, software development right now is still in demand, right? And maybe now you're convinced, but like you want to learn development. The thing is that you don't really have time to really learn on this kind of development. So the thing is that there are other ways. So bootcamps itself helps you to learn flexibly as well, right? That's part time. So Ekin itself, he said that he's able to learn based on his availability, right? So for him, he's our student. He became a software developer within the same company. So he was a business analyst, and now he went through with us to learn to code, and then he just changed department to become a tech role or software developer. So for those who don't want to quit your job, but maybe you work in a big company, but you want to upskill yourself to land to a better job rather than your current job, it is actually very possible, right? And maybe what if it's too late to start learning now, right? So Nelson, another one, he's also a mechanical or safety. He does he's basically an engineer. I forgot what's his role, but basically he He's not like very young, right? I believe he's like in the 30s, if I'm not wrong. But basically, he went through and became a software developer with us as well, right? He became a developer by joining us. Not he wasn't. He's not a software developer with us. He's now working for another company as well, right? So there are we understand that you are able to you have commitments, right? But there are boot camps like us that helps you to just learn on your own time as well, so you don't have the stress of like just going to class every single day or after work, that kind of thing. So there's not much in terms of, for him, what he said, no burnout. So he's able to learn whenever and wherever he wants as well. So then I might be, saying, oh yeah, there's demand. Let's take a landscape of in Malaysia or maybe around Southeast Asia. So there is a skill gap in the local tech sector. So 24% did not receive enough upskilling. All right. So 37% of Malaysians fear job loss, with 2 in 5 are Gen Xers feeling the pressure. Okay. And 36% will consider leaving their job for better career growth opportunities. So the thing is that you're not alone, right? Like because of this, continual wave of, tech that's trying to automate certain things, right? People are feeling the fear and people are considering leaving their job for better opportunities. And most of the time, it's always through tech, right? And then after that, there's also initiatives out there. So there's investments that the government wants to put in 70 billion by 2025. This is where you could see that when you have more investments into a certain industry, right? That is where you should actually pay attention, because when money is into a certain industry, that's where a lot of jobs are coming in. So this is more towards the IMDA, which is the MIDA, sorry, not IMDA. Malaysian Investment Development Authority wants to put more digital related investment. Anything digital requires a software developer. Then also tech job contributes to 1/4 of the nation's GDP, right? So now, like, it's gonna be, I would say, even more, that learning tech is something that will help you stay in the market, because 1/4 already, it's just digital economy, right? And the tech space can always scale so much faster than other industries out there as well, right? And after that, there's also 469 billion worth of opportunities for you in the career in tech as well, right? So AWS, so skilled digital workers, 105 billion is into the Amazon company, right? Who use digital skills, right? Including cloud architecture and whatnot. So this is where people who use advanced digital skills like cloud architecture or software development actually contributed to the Malaysia's annual gross domestic of 469 billion, which is 1/4 all money. So in summary, there is a skill gap in the local tech sector. There's also a high demand in it, 25% of it. And then it's $446.9 billion worth of opportunities for your tech career, 30 billion as well. And then, yeah, that is where you could see that we are creating additional 500,000 jobs, 500,000, just through the digital economy, right? So if you were to just see the salary for a web developer that I believe is the right start for you, on average in Glassdoor, it's 4,650, right? And that is without a tech degree. The next one, if you want to be a software developer, someone who's able to learn pretty fast. So you're able to learn web development. And then the next part, maybe you want to learn mobile development. These people who are able to adapt to other technologies, right? I call them software developers, right? Because they can just become web developers now. Then later on, they can be blockchain developers later on. 7,400 ringgit without a degree as well. Okay. More and more companies, including myself, we are actually looking for developers, and having a degree, to be honest, is not the most appealing thing right now. Right now is, like I said earlier, projects that you can showcase your skills, right? That is very important. And then there's also thousands of opportunities out there, right? 1,700 in Malaysia. In Singapore, there's almost 5,000. Australia, there's 4,000. Indonesia is 1,000, right? So I think a lot of you are interested maybe to go to work in Singapore, which is nearby, right? And then maybe some of you might want to go to explore in Australia. And I have people, I've known a developer in Indonesia, right? He started out remote working, and then after that, he joined another company after his remote work. And right now, the company flew him over to Europe because he's a software developer, right? So these are super important things that, not super important, but basically, once you have tech skills, companies not only are okay with you remote working, but they are able to fly you over to a country and pay for your for your visa to live there, right? Because maybe you want to explore other countries to work, maybe in Europe and other parts of the world. Because tech is something so high demand that they want to fly the person that I know who's Indonesia fly to Europe. Eh? Does that sound amazing, right? So, with that said, if you allow me to review what I am trying to offer you, right? So, all of these things seems good, right? And these are the things that I want to showcase, right? So, hopefully, you give me the permission to review on what we are offering. So, I want to introduce to you about our flagship course. Is called the Complete Software Development Program, right? And this is where you're able to build web and mobile applications to help you stand out from the crowd. Trust me, if you're able to build web applications and show in your resume, you will stand out so much more. Right. And basically, you will go through on how to use HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. These three basic things actually combine into frameworks and other things that you can build big projects like Airbnb clone, Spotify clone, e-wallet clone, e-commerce, finance tracker, and many more. So we are more towards helping you build projects so that you're used to building projects that you can showcase to, you know, employers or tech recruiters. I know someone who was a chef, right? Okay, I don't know him personally, but I saw his resume online. He was a chef, and the only thing that he showcased in terms of his tech experience was just projects after projects after projects after projects, right? He knew how to build a mobile application. He knew how to build a web application. He knew how to build another application, right? And all of this has, links to his live projects that we can see. And this is like for me, it will be super impressive, right? So with that said, with this complete software development program, right, we have over 1,000 hours of content that you can apply in building projects. And the value right now is $1,997 in terms of value, right? And then after that, we are going to equip you with a comprehensive framework to prepare you for any role from front end to mobile app development. And you'll be able to create your own web application fast, right? Right now, you might be thinking, hey, right, there's free resources out there. Yes, 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 there is. And the thing is that these free resources out there are usually, right? These are the things that I personally have gone through. And the thing is that they might not even update it. But for us and for me, we want to always be updated with the latest technology so that you're able to create things that's way more impressive than outdated things out there, right? We are incentivized to always updates our curriculum so that you're able to better grasp on the different thing that's going on out there. You don't want to get outdated stuff. You always want the updated stuff as well, right? Then next thing is we also have online coaching sessions per week to accelerate your progress, which is the value of $3,997 of value, right? So I know that learning by yourself is pretty hard. That's where a community, that's where online coaching helps in terms of understanding where you are right now and learning what you need to go through next. So an accountability where you have to go through the project itself, and then this will help you fasten the process of you learning the skills of a software developer. And then at the same time, the priority access of our hiring partners, right? So in Sigma School, not only we hire our students, right? We do that sometimes, but at the same time we also are bringing in people who are looking into hiring people, right? So because we are a school, they know we have talents. People are asking us already, it's like, hey, do you have students that we can hire, right? Part-time, and sometimes we also have projects that we need to hire developers for, and that comes in the value of $997 in terms of value as well. And then lastly, unlimited lifetime one-to-one support and mentorship forever until you achieve your goal, right? So we want you to be software developers. My goal is for you to become software developers or get a tech role, right? Because we know that it can help you achieve maybe remote working, maybe working in another country, right? Where you can actually, live live better, not only for yourself, but for your family, for whoever that you want to bring along with. And that is something that we believe in. And that's where we really want to help you on one-to-one support with mentorship forever until you achieve your goal at a value of $4,997 in value, in total of $14,985. Right? So what you're gonna get, right? So is that you're not good enough for software development, we can guarantee that you're not going to be alone. Right? You're going to be surrounded by people who are experts in whatever they are teaching you, mentors, and encouraging community. Right? Would that be good? So what if I'm tied up to my job? Our bootcamp is designed to help you transition seamlessly, fitting your commitments and pace. Right? Would that be good? Right? And if there is a chance to finally build exciting tech projects so that you can break into your tech career with support from every step of the way, would that be good? So for this workshop, we have a secret offer only for you, right? I'm not giving this because you are here. You actually listen through the whole, what do you call this, workshop. I have a secret offer only for you, right? So the total value that I'm offering right now is $14,985. But for today, we have two programs, the online coach, which is the part-time, and the bootcamp is the full-time. I'm going to cut it down to 30%, which is $11,447 for the online coach. And then for the bootcamp, $13,447 for the full-time program. But I'll make it even better because I'm going to cut off for this price as well to $7,997 for the online coach, and also the bootcamp at $10,997 as well. But the thing is that since you have go through the whole workshop with me, for today's workshop offer, you are going home with $7,497 for the online coach, and for the bootcamp, 10,497 ringgit. Sorry, not dollars, ringgit as well, right? And yes, we offer 3 monthly installments as well, right? So what you're gonna get is 1,000 hours worth of the complete software development program, which is worth $1,000, $997 of value. Second is proven frameworks to create real world projects, because we've done it, and we literally have projects that we are building for clients, and that's $2,997 worth of value. And then you also have 2+1 weekly online coaching workshop, which is $3,997 of value. Private access to hiring partners, which I think will be very beneficial, $997 worth of value, and unlimited support and mentorship as well, around $4,997 value. In total value of $14,985. But for today, right now, it is going for 7,497 ringgit of the online coach, and also 10,497 ringgit for the bootcamp full time as well. All right. So I'm gonna give like 30 minutes until 9:30 for this offer to last. For this offer only. So you can go to the QR code and get the promo code as well. So you can go to sigmaschool.co/enroll. Right. I'm gonna share the link over here as well. So you can scan the QR code, or I'm gonna share the link. And then you just put in the promo code as what you see over there. And this is where you get your, and then you can put in the promo code to get the current price as what you see over here. So at the same time, if you have any questions, just let me know inside the chat as well. And I'm also going to share on why people, the number one reason why most people fail, right? So the thing is that like for this kind of like education itself, because a lot of times, when people were to learn code by themselves, right? Um, a lot of times why people fail to learn coding is because number one, because I've taught enough to know that the online resources out there is not the best, right? They don't really have the motivation to really create something that's easy for you to understand. So one of my student, he mentioned to me, right? It's like, hey Haris, that time when I want to, practice more than what you have, right? Or practice outside what your coding exercise, right? Like when I go and learn, it's like so much harder than what you actually created. I literally have a student say that mine was too easy, but it's better lah, because for me, we have created the program so that it's easy enough for you to understand, right? If the program is you say it's too easy, I've done my job, right? So the free resources out there, they are doing a good service. I'm not saying they're bad, they're doing a good service to help you understand. But the thing is that they might not be incentivized to help you understand better, right? Because they might just write it once and that's it. For us, we want to help you understand this concept itself, because learning tech, it's already very hard, right? And the thing is that it gets demotivating very fast if you were to keep on going through the course by yourself and keep on failing, because it is tech, right? It is very hard, a technical skill that you need to learn, right? And other than really investing into making the coding bootcamp curriculum easy to understand, the second thing is that one thing that I've realized is that if you were to learn by yourself and you learn with a community or in a structured way, this is where you see the difference. Because for example, right, imagine that you go to university, but the thing is that, okay, I'm gonna just, yeah, let you learn, right? You take your own time, right? We have the content out there, you just take your time. We have the YouTube videos, you just take your time. After you finish all of the assignments, you get your degree, right? How would you think that you're able to pull through 4 years of studying without a timetable, right? So that is the difference between a structured program like the coding bootcamp or the online coach versus something that you learn by yourself. It's because you have structure. In university, why people are able to finish in 3 4 years, right? Is because they have a timetable created for you. So for this and for the bootcamp itself, we actually have a structured way for you to finish learning the software developer skills, right? The skills to become a software developer in 4 months, right? And then for the online coach, if you have a job itself, you can't commit to full time, that's okay, because you can take your time in terms of having a structured curriculum at the same time, just following it through. And then we also have weekly sessions that you're able to just follow along as well, right? So these are the things that I believe that is number one reason why most people fail, mostly in the accountability part. And the second thing is how hard it is for you to understand tech as well, right? So second thing is like job or money back, right? So what if I say that, like, if you don't get a job after learning with us, then we will give your money back, right? And that is something that we are very motivated towards to, because we want you to find a job. So the only thing that we ask for is to really go through the curriculum like till the end, and then after that really find the job, because we are there with you as well, right? You do the effort, I can really say in confidence that you will have a higher chance of getting a job. And maybe after 6 months of like get finding a job, or even longer than that, and you are not able to find a job, even after going through the whole curriculum, even after finding a job for 6 months continuously finding a job, right? And you cannot get a job, then we'll give you our money back, right? Because we are very confident to say that with the effort that you do with us, and then complete the curriculum itself, right? Whether it's an online coach or whether it's going through the bootcamp, and really delve into finding a job itself with our, priority priority access to hiring partners, unlimited support and mentorship. If all of these that we do and help to help you to get a job isn't working, then okay, we'll give back your money, right? Because we really want you to get a job. And if you can't find one, and then yeah, okay, we'll give you back the money. So in a sense, there isn't much risk because you put in the effort, you put in the work, and then we really support you all the way. You finish your curriculum, you really put in the hours to find a job, and by the time that you are not able to, right, in the span of like 6 months to maybe a year, then okay, then you did your best. Okay, then we just give back your money as well, right? So there isn't much risk because in terms of like, if your end goal is really to find a job, then just go ahead, right? So that is why we believe in this money back if you can't find a job, right? Okay. So the next thing is that either way, you still pay, right? You still pay if you were to, learn by yourself. Because in the end, that's where it, like most of you, like might continue, which is fine, right? Because you're always learning. But the thing is that it's the same thing as if you want to achieve a goal, right? If you want to achieve a goal in terms of like getting a job, or as simple as if you want to, for example, like yeah, if you want to get a job, right? Either way, you still pay in terms of time, because the thing is that when you were to learn by yourself, you get distracted very easily, right? And that goes the same as me, because when I want to learn something, like there's so much YouTube tutorials out there, there's so much free resources out there, which one do I choose? But once you pay for something like, for example, a course, you become very focused, right? Because you paid for something, and then you tend to follow it up, right? And that's where a lot of people see progress in terms of learning a new skill, right? Especially in tech as well, right? So with the bootcamp and online coach, we have a structured way so that you're able to follow through the whole curriculum, the whole content, so that you will actually get better. And with the support that we have, the community around it to help you get to achieve to where you want it to be, right? And then this pays off because you paid for focus, you pay for accountability, you pay for community, and you pay for the access to hiring partners that we have, right? And this is all because of the goal of helping you to find a job. Otherwise, then you have to pay in terms of finding out how to create a curriculum for you. Meaning, like if you self-learn, that means you need to spend time to actually just looking into what is the best way for you to become a developer. You also need to learn on how you can find jobs, or whether your resume is good, or whether how you do interviews are good as well, right? But for us, because I teach in the bootcamp itself, we actually have classes to help you in your resume, so you don't have to always trial and error with multiple failures of going through interviews as well, right? So is either way you still pay, whether you pay right now to get a focus, to get a community support in order for you to get a job, or you were to just pay in terms of time and maybe money in other things that might not actually reach your goal, or maybe it takes even longer to reach your goal as well, right? So that is why either way you still pay as well, right? Okay. Then what will happen if you don't say yes, right? You don't say yes to this, then that's fine. You just continue to whatever you have been doing uh, before joining this workshop, right? You will just continue just doing whatever you're doing, right? But for those who said yes, for the students that actually said yes to joining a bootcamp, right? I seen the difference. Now they are working as software developers, with people coming to them saying, "Hey, you look like an experienced developer. Why not you join our company?" Right? That kind of thing, right? I have student who was a person who worked during the COVID period. And he was like the person to tell people, "Oh, okay, you guys cannot be very close to each other." Right? I forgot. I think safe distancing officer, something like that. And then he also had like a diploma in psychology as well. Similar story as mine. All right. But he said yes to joining a boot camp, and then he went through it, and then he really like uh go through the coding bootcamp itself, and then after that, he's got a software developer role, or basically a mobile app developer role. And one thing that's weird is that he was learning web development from me, and he managed to get a mobile app development role. So like you could see that even if you were to just say no, and even if you just say yes right now, it's just of you having a better skill and better way for you to get a better career out will be much higher than if you don't say yes, right? If you don't say yes, life just move on, and then yeah, that's it. That's it. Just life moves on, and that's fine. If you want to go that way, I think that's fine. There's nothing wrong in that. But if you were to say yes right now, then that's where like I feel that limited. All right. Okay. So can you just show how we can apply the promo code? Doesn't seem to work for me. All right. So yes, thank you, MJ, for sharing that. So let me go to this over here. Right. So maybe some of you are ready to go on this journey with us, right? So let me also zoom this in. Okay. So maybe you go to this website over here, right? And what you can do is you can go to this online coach part-time and whatnot. You can click on proceed, right? And then you see this code over here, right? So the code that we have is two code, right? Which is limited 50, right? And then you can just apply. Okay, the coupon is not, all right. So why is it not working? Okay. But I believe the deposit 500 is working, right? Deposit 500. Okay. So why is the limited 50 not working? I think the limited one is limited. No, no. Oh, right. It's limited 30. Right. Thanks, Liana, for that. So let me try limited 30. 30 and apply. All right. You're right, Liana. Okay. My bad on this. It's supposed to be limited 30. And then after that, you have to put in deposit 500. Okay. Right. So thanks for that. Apply. Okay. There you go. Deposit 500. Let me apply. Okay, then you get the final price. That what we have. All right, so let me change the slides halfway through this, but don't worry. So thanks, Liana, to say this. So it's actually limit 30. It's not limited 50. Okay, so my bad on this one. But either way, what I'm trying to say is that if you were to don't say yes, yeah, yeah. I mean, things will just go as the same as the same. Uh, yeah, it will just go the same itself, lah. Right? Okay. Sorry, I just updated, so I'm gonna refresh this link over here. Okay. And at the same time, I will say also that money is just a resource, right? It will just you will be always earning money itself. But the thing is that how much of money you are earning, it really depends on your skill, right? And that's something that I believe all of us agree on, right? So for example, if you have a skill that is able to earn you 1,005, then yeah, you'll be earning 1,005. If you were to be a developer, then in terms of like basically what I'm trying to say is that either way, you will always spend this money. So you spend the money that you have to maybe buy food. You spend the money to buy, a Starbucks drink, all of that. But at the same time, like that, your earning potential might remain the same, right? But the thing is that once you have a skill as a developer, then suddenly the money that you have invested right into yourself, you suddenly have the potential of a salary of minimum 3,000 per month, right? Something like that, right? And right now, maybe you have a potential salary of 1,000 per month. So either way, you still spend the money that you have, but it's just that your skill, whether you want to stick to 1,000 per month or 3,000 per month, right? Because in the end, you still get money, but it's just that the potential of you getting more money might not be as good as whether someone who has, developer skills as well. All right. So Haris, for the course online coach full-time, what does the curriculum look like? So for Brandon, the course online coach part-time / full-time, what does the curriculum look like? So essentially, Brandon, right? To answer that question, the curriculum will basically look like how you how the roadmap actually looks like, which you will go through in the 6 course. Basically, it goes into three parts, right? The basics, and then there is this thing called front end, meaning that you are able to learn how to build a website. And then the next one is the database side, right? So it's the same thing as the roadmap. It's literally what the roadmap I'm teaching you. So you learn the basics, you learn how to build a simple website in the basics. And then after that, in the online coach, you also learn how to build a website with a framework, which is important, right? And then lastly, you have the database side where you learn how to create databases to connect to your website itself. So these are the four things that you will learn through the course online coach and also the bootcamp full time as well. We basically literally give you the whole roadmap for you to understand how to become a software developer. It's just that now is the decision for you whether you want to learn on yourself or whether you want to learn with us. Okay. Then that is for Brandon's question on what does the curriculum look like. It literally will look like the roadmap that I literally showed you. Right. Next one from Manpreet Jit Singh. Can the part-time transition to full-time in between? Right. So I have students who did part time and then after that they transitioned to full time because they say that part time was slower and full time it's a fixed curriculum. So you finish learning the skills of a software developer in 4 months. While part time, of course, it's on your own time. We have weekly sessions to go through, but it's sometimes not fast enough. And sometimes our students say, okay, I want something faster because I really want to get I want to really learn the skills as a software developer and hopefully get a job faster than part time, and they do. So you can transition from part time to full time, and then that's where you actually like you will see the difference in terms of learning. And the thing is that as software developers, you learn almost every day. So essentially, you're technically feel like you're a software developer learning new stuff and understanding and building projects as well, right? So that answers Manpreet Singh's question. Next question from Coding with Mr. M. Are we going to get the live classes or recorded one? So for all of online coach and the bootcamp, it is live classes. And you also get the recordings of the live lessons that we do. So on online coach is twice a week, right? So you get the live classes if you can make it, but if you can't make it, you can go through the recorded ones. For the full-time bootcamp, because it's online, we also have offline options. We also have live classes as well, and we also record our lessons so that you can catch up if you are not able to make it. Because sometimes life happens, and then some of my students could not make it for one lesson, and they could go through the recordings as well. But because I'm more into the bootcamp full-time program, some of my students are able to actually follow the slides along, and they roughly understand how the slides are and able to create a project from it, because I believe that that's where real learning comes from, through slides as well, right? Will there be a timetable where I have to present for lessons every day? So would there be a time where I have to present for lesson, or present to be present, not present? Oh my God. Right. So yes, there is a timetable for the online coach and the bootcamp itself. For the online coach, the timetable is just twice a week. If I'm not wrong, from 9 to 10 p.m. But we will let you know if the time changes. For the bootcamp, we also have a timetable, right? So we have the lesson from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. And then after that, that is the lesson itself. And then you have self-study sessions from 2 to 5 p.m. where the instructors will be online if you have any questions, right? So this is like we have created the lesson so that you have enough time to explore and really understand what we are going through and learning as well. All right. So coding with Mr. M. So can I get offline classes too? So offline classes, if you were to, if I get your question correctly, are you saying that you want to have a course that does not have any live classes, right? If so, then we do also have the self-paced class as well. So some of our students actually were from the self-paced class, meaning that they got the offline classes or basically the self-paced course. And then they feel that it is since there's no lessons in this self-paced course, meaning it's just themselves. Of course, we have like a Discord community to ask questions, but you don't have live lessons. And then they feel like, okay, I think I want something that is faster than learning by myself. And that's where they transition into either online coach, or some actually will go to the full-time bootcamp itself, right? So that hopefully answers coding with Mr. RM for the offline classes as well. So Manpreet Singh asks, what is the timing like for the part-time again? How many days in a week? So for the part-time, we have two like stages. One is the basics and one is the intermediate. So the basics will be once a week. So you will learn coding from our instructor once a week. And the timing is roughly around from 9 to 10 p.m. And that is where like you will learn how to build a project and learn how to code as well, right? So that is the timing for the part-time, right? And that so yeah, so how many days a week is once, right? Then once you go to intermediate, you will transition from basics to intermediate. So that's another lesson itself, right? But for any given time, it's once a week, right? So 1 day a week, right? And then for coding with Mr. M, I mean, I can come directly to the Sigma Institute and take the classes in real time. Right. So okay, sorry. If I were to so basically we call it physical classes. Yes, we do have physical classes as well. So we do have an option. If you want to be physically with us with a physical instructor, we also have that option as well, right? So some might want to have a physical setting to learn better, and then you also have the instructor there to really help you on the spot if you have any questions as well, right? Okay, online coach for days for 9 and 10. Okay. All right, thanks, MJ. Yes, online coach part-time once a week, usually happening from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. Online bootcamp 4 days a week from 9 to 12 p.m. After that, self-learn session and offline bootcamp, attend classes physically in Phuket. Yes, thanks, MJ, for that. So we actually, this is basically the 3 points of what we have gone through as well, right? So hopefully you have a better sense of how this bootcamp works, right? So yes, thanks for MJ for pointing it out, and thanks everyone for the questions. Just keep on asking the questions itself, right? But yes, so basically, whatever you need, then that's where you're able to, what do you call this? Whatever you need. For example, if you want to learn by yourself, we have. If you want to learn but part-time, maybe once a week, we also have. If you want to learn full-time, which is 4 days a week, right? We also have. And if you really want to be physically there with us, we also have that option. So, and we basically are giving options according to your schedule, your priorities. All right. So Natalie, could we apply this promo code after this event? So only for this event, you only have this promo code, right? So in 5 minutes, this is the only promo code that you're gonna have that's gonna last you for in 5 minutes. So if you want to use your promo code, I would recommend you to use it right now, because this is something that we don't really do often, right? And yeah, as much as possible, try to secure this offer that we have right now. Okay. So yeah, is the physical bootcamp from 9 a.m.? Yes, exactly the same. So the physical bootcamp is the same as the online bootcamp, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. So that is the physical session. The self-learning session is also inside the offline bootcamp or the physical bootcamp, but that is where we will not hold any classes. It will just be online. We call this what do you call this, online office hours, right? So basically you will have slides that you go through on your own, and then at the same time, if you have any question, you can just ask online through our Discord channel as well, right? So these are the things that we already have placed, and a lot of students that went through this course actually appreciate, because that is where we have someone who teaches you. The slides will just give you the direction that you need to do, and you also have assignments that you need to do on your own, because practice or I would say perfect practice makes perfect. Practice doesn't make perfect, perfect practice makes perfect. So when you do good practice, you get better at it, right? Then the more practice that you have, the better in terms of coding that you have, right? So we really only want to condense as much as possible in terms of like learning, in terms of like physical, as in 3 hours. And we have seen that it's actually long enough, or I would say short enough for you to actually understand. And then after that, you will just practice what you've learned through on your own, because most of the time as developers you learn by yourself, right? Okay, so another question: if having part-time online session want to transition to full-time physical, is there a cost involved? Yes, there is. So you just need to top up if you believe that a part-time online session is not enough, right? So maybe for example 7,497, you just top up. So for the full-time bootcamp, the physical bootcamp is actually higher cost, right? It will be 11,497. So you just pay for the difference itself, right? So we are very flexible in terms of if you want to upgrade from online coach to physical bootcamp, just pay the difference, and then that's where you're able to what do you call this? You're able to you're able to go to the physical bootcamp. So if you think you're just part-time and then suddenly, oh, I have actually have more time to do full-time, we are also very flexible in that. So you just have to top up the difference. That's it. All right, next question, MJ. Can I ask what are the upcoming batches available? That's a very good question, MJ. So basically, inside Sigma School, we have an upcoming batch in 1 month, right? So the upcoming batches that we have, all right, is over here. So we have the online coach, online bootcamp, the on-site bootcamp itself, right? We call it on-site. So the upcoming batches will be, the next one will be 20th of August, which is this month. And then the upcoming bootcamp is 4th September for both online and on-site, which is literally 4 weeks, right? You have 4 weeks to join us, right? So right now, you have 2 minutes more to apply our code that we're offering right now. That's going to be expired very, very soon. Okay. So another question, what is the difference between a software developer and a full stack developer, which you're offering? Right. So the thing is that there's a lot of terms out there, software developer, full stack developer. So for me, the definition of a full stack developer is basically, you know how to build the website, you know how to set up a database that connects the database to the website, and then you're able to push this web application with the database connected live to the public. That is what we call a full stack developer. A full stack means one stack is the database, one stack is a website, and that is two stacks together. We call it full stack, right? But software developer is another thing, and that's why the money, there's more money in the software developer role, is because this software developer role are very adaptable. So you know the basics of software development. If someone were to ask you, hey, Haris, can you maybe try out do a Internet of Things, IoT stuff, but you only have like web development experience, that means you are able to be more adaptable in a sense, right? There's no real full stack developer because no one can know everything. Yes, Jensen, you're right. Yes. So as much as possible, basically a full stack developer is able to understand how database works, how the database connect to the website, and how the website works. That's about it. For software developers, in a sense, they kind of know how to work things around, right? Meaning that, oh, I have a database issue. Okay, I can roughly know how to solve it. Oh, I have a mobile app issue. I can roughly know how to work things around it. So they're very adaptable, these software developer roles, right? They can transition from different tech itself. All right, so thank you so much. And that's about it. I think we are left with a few more seconds. Maybe I can answer one more question inside the chat as well, right? Let me know. Okay, so that's about it. Thank you so much for everyone who joins into this. I just want to end off with this. Information doesn't really create change. I can tell you literally how to become a software developer, which I did, but in the end, it's you who is going to choose whether you want to change or not, right? Because I can give you, yeah, your resume is not that good, or like, oh, this is how to improve your resume, oh, the projects need to build. But in the end, change requires you to use effort, right? Because you have to choose that, and you have to put in the effort for you to actually go through and become the change that you want to be. So you want to have a better job, you want to have more flexible working hours, you have basically you want to have options for you to work remotely, for you to work in another country, for you to be flexible in terms of if you want to be a freelance developer, right? For you to choose your own schedule to work on, because I literally went through everything. I was a software developer. I was a software developer as an employee. I worked on projects that paid me money, right? And I was working remotely as well, right? These things I don't believe will happen if I don't have any software development experience or even skill as well, right? So that's why I'm very I call it bullish, or I'm very confident that with these tech skills, it just opens up so much opportunities, right? A little bit about me, I was earning $1,000 per month, and then it shot up to 3,000 and even more. So every year, I was able to earn more money because the tech demand is there, and people are looking into like there's so much opportunities you can explore that can make you more money, right? And like as much as it sounds so salesy, right? It is what, because education itself, right, in tech especially, helps you open up the door for you to, have a career that I believe is quite fulfilling, because this is things that if you like challenges, you will enjoy. If you like to impact people, if you want to create your own startup, your tech startup, right, a business idea, tech can help you. Is, I would say, the easier way to actually just see the impact versus having a traditional business where you have to set up a stall and whatnot. You can literally just use a laptop for you to just do a company that does with tech, and that's roughly about. And you just need internet. That's roughly about it. All right. So with that said, here's the bonus that I think most of you are waiting for. This is the free course, sig1.co/6 in 6, right? This is where you go through on how to learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript and build 6 projects in 6 days. Some people literally did this in 1 day or so, right? So if you just want to have a touch on what the project is and how building website are, then this is the link, sig1.co/6 in 6. So I'm just gonna put in the what do you call this, the chat over here, 6 in 6, right? All right, so that's it. All right, so make sure you copy and paste this link. Make sure you don't leave it out there. Make sure you write it down somewhere. So that's about it for today workshop. Thank you so much for joining me in this workshop. Right, and thank you for also putting the question. I think some of you also helped me in terms of uh, helping resolve the issue of the promo code as well. All right, so that's about it. Thank you so much, everyone. Terima kasih. Yes, terima kasih. 谢谢你. Nandre, right? So I know how to say thank you in different languages, in Tamil as well. Okay, so hopefully this workshop have see a better, have helped you be informed of what is available out there and what's possible as well. So with that said, thank you so much. Oh, thanks, Christina. Thank you, thank you. With that said, hope you people have a nice one, and I will see you in the boot camp. Bye bye. Thank you so much. Bye bye, everyone. Thank you, thank you. Have a great night, people. Bye bye.